Hey, what's up guys? Today, I'll show you a crime drama film, 96 Days. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with a girl on a skiing trip, hoping for the most anticipated freedom from a traumatic nightmare. As they travel the snow-covered horizon in Austria, an older man tries to guard and accompany her to the bathroom. The older man ensures that nobody is in the toilet, so that the girl will not have a chance to speak with other people. A few moments while the girl is taking a leak, a noise from the other cubicle breaks the silence, which signifies that someone is there. Without hesitation, the girl immediately approaches the stranger and pleads for help. She tells her name and shares her situation of being abducted. However, before she could get a response from a stranger, the older man suspects her actions of trying to escape. The girl suddenly realizes and remembers her entire dreadful kidnapping episodes over the past years. It's then revealed that the girl named Natasha has been captivated for many years by the older man as her kidnapper. She continuously strives for the moment of escaping, but she only recollects her life from yesterday's memories. One night, the bar's atmosphere gets filled with glorious melodies and graceful gestures. In the middle of the crowd, Natasha enjoyably dances, while her proud dad is drinking and chilling with the other adults. As the night gets darker, Natasha convinces her dad to go home, but her dad only insists on continuing the party. The following day, Natasha wakes up late from her mom's call. Her mom then gives her the self-made dress she must wear for school. At first, she refuses to use it, since that only makes her appear bigger. But her mom commands that she needs it as her uniform. While eating and preparing, Natasha receives a warning from her mom about joining her dad in the bar. Her mom emphasizes that she will never see her dad anymore if the same situation occurs again. With this statement, Natasha disrespectfully answers, which leads her to gain a slap from her concerned mom. Disappointed and emotional, Natasha walks out and ignores her mom's apology. With tears in her innocent eyes, Natasha walks her way to school alone while thinking about the conflict with her mother. Not long after, the terrifying trauma is about to begin when an older man nicknamed Mr. Kidnapper suddenly grabs and seals the defenseless girl inside the white van. The horrific season starts when Natasha's scream becomes useless inside the vehicle. Meanwhile, another pupil notices the incident, but seems confused and shocked about the unexpected event. Upon arriving in the chambers of suffering, Mr. Kidnapper carries and brings the unconscious girl to a fortified secret room beneath his garage. Time passes. Natasha finally opens her eyes and realizes that she gets captive in a four-cornered room. She continuously bangs the locked door and calls for help. However, her little hope diminishes after she notices that the tiny space is windowless and soundproofed. Moments later, Mr. Kidnapper enters the secret room, providing Natasha with some beddings, food, and water. As a response, Natasha expresses her sadness and desire to go home. She keeps banging on the door and shouting for help, but her efforts and energy get sealed in vain. On the third day of the abduction, Mr. Kidnapper tries to find some books suitable for kids. Unexpectedly, he reads and shares the story in the book for Natasha to be entertained. Natasha only behaves and eats while listening. When it's time to sleep, he decides to leave the tiny cellar. Then, Natasha requests a goodnight kiss, as her mother always does. Without delay, he grants the wish and departs the tiny secret room. Meanwhile, Natasha's family constantly grieves and longs for Natasha's presence. The new family's hobby is getting updates and listening to the television news. On the other hand, Natasha prefers to delight in the inescapable situation by entertaining herself. The following day, Mr. Kidnapper welcomes his own mother, who rarely visits the house. Little does his mother know that he has been hiding an ultimate secret. They watch television, witnessing the news about the missing girl in town. With such confidence, he pretends to be innocent and clueless about the crime. Subsequently, Mr. Kidnapper goes to the secret room to check on Natasha. As a sign of persistent courage, Natasha creates a letter for her family and hands it to Mr. Kidnapper. Then, Natasha shampoos her hair and tries to speak about going back to her family. He strongly affirms and brainwashes Natasha that nobody wants her back. The tension arises when he gets irritated by Natasha's cry, leading him to punish and drown Natasha several times before leaving. He then goes upstairs and locks the secret room with many barriers. One sunny day, Mr. Kidnapper's grandmother and mother visit him in his house. The moment of truth almost exists when two police officers do a quick investigation and interrogation. He confidently denies, fabricates lies, and opens the van with no hints of the abduction. He successfully conceals the truth after answering all the police officers' questions. With darkness illuminating the tiny space of the room, Natasha can't help but only recollects the good old days with her family. She reminisces about the days when happiness is the only rhythm. Afterward, Mr. Kidnapper arrives again, bringing her some food to eat. Having a solid heart in the chaos, Natasha asks for a clock as no ray of sunshine appears in the room. She also asks about the letter and if her parents received the message. As this happens, Mr. Kidnapper lies about the letter and ignores Natasha's questions. He also installed a device in the room that he could use to talk and hear Natasha upstairs. Natasha has no idea that the letter for her parents only gets destroyed by Mr. Kidnapper. On the 183rd day in captivity, Natasha gets used to her unfortunate fate by diverting the situation into something delightful. She imagines and acts like a teacher, as if some students are listening to her. She even draws things and figures to the plain walls to amuse herself. Also, she even pretends to be in an interview, where she answers questions about overpowering her kidnapper. Unexpectedly, Mr. Kidnapper overhears Natasha's roleplay and talks through a device installed in the room. He orders Natasha to clean the plate and brush her teeth. Lastly, he repetitively says and shouts the phrase, "Obey me." In the ongoing crisis, Natasha proceeds with a bright idea by using toothpaste and the leftover food. She pretends to have a bruise and wound on her wrist for her to go outside. But Mr. Kidnapper figures out the tactic and decides to prohibit Natasha from eating as a punishment. Desperate for liberty, Natasha screams once more for help, believing someone might hear her plea. Mr. Kidnapper only explains to her that the room is perfectly hidden and secretly built against any revelations. With no footprints of success, Natasha gradually accepts her destiny by distracting herself. She reads books and learns some words in a day. Moments later, she speaks to the device in the room, hoping that Mr. Kidnapper could hear her. She asks for any food after starving for 4 days, but receives no answer. 4 years later, in the corners of hell, Natasha remains as a prisoner in the same room. The tribulation stays as Natasha still experiences starvation for several days. Learning becomes her redeeming hobby to forget the problem. On the 1695th day, as she learns a new book, the red days of her femininity arise. When Mr. Kidnapper discovers that Natasha is having a period of womanhood, he gets disgusted and orders Natasha to clean the mess. On the contrary, Natasha courageously suggests that she must shower in the bathroom instead. Unexpectedly, Natasha's appeal to get upstairs has been fulfilled this time. Seeing the stairs makes Natasha cry, as that is the first time again she can embrace the rays of sunshine. Meanwhile, Mr. Kidnapper imposes a threat of killing her if she attempts to make any noise or action to escape. Upon arriving in the bathroom, Natasha gets fascinated by the sound of the environment outside. She takes her clothes off and unconsciously showcases her figure to take a bath. In a moment, Mr. Kidnapper welcomes his mother again, who keeps dropping by occasionally. His mother notices a strand of hair in his coat, assuming he has a blonde girlfriend. When his mother leaves, he proceeds to cut all the hair of Natasha to prevent the truth. The 1837th day arrives, which happens to be the Christmas season for Natasha in a lonely place. Mr. Kidnapper visits her in the secret room, giving her a piece of cake. Natasha gets surprised upon receiving some presents from Mr. Kidnapper. She feels excited to get a Walkman and a new set of books. Despite the chaotic years, Natasha remains grateful even for simple gifts. The eternal quest for freedom still resides in the heart of Natasha. She wonders about her family during Christmas, but Mr. Kidnapper only insists that he is the new family and even changes her name. In line with Christmas Eve, Natasha's real family still suffers the same pain for years for the missing girl. One morning, Mr. Kidnapper fixes one part of his house with Natasha's help. Shortly, he requires Natasha to remove her shirt, as there is no point in having a dress indoors. She takes her clothes off as a naive and obedient girl, flaunting her innocent melons. When Natasha asks if he has a girlfriend, he gets irritated, attempting to strike her with a hammer. Filled with dusks and sands all over the body, Natasha asks to take a shower. Witnessing Natasha's heavenly shape, Mr. Kidnapper gets mesmerized and orders Natasha to sleep beside him upstairs the following night. The night has come when Natasha needs to sleep beside Mr. Kidnapper. With only obedience as the key, Natasha willingly accepts her never-ending cycle of despair. He grabs a cable tie and connects his left arm to Natasha's right arm. This way, Natasha will not have a chance to escape, and they will have a better cuddle position in bed. The determined girl starts to gain the trust of Mr. Kidnapper. She always behaves and obeys to avoid Mr. Kidnapper's mood changes. But still, she gets imprisoned endlessly in a tiny space secret room. Consequently, Mr. Kidnapper tries to relax and makes her night extraordinary by going to the mall and the bar. Driven by relaxing performances, he joins the crowd, releasing his graceful moves. While a random lady seductively dances with him, Mr. Kidnapper suddenly stops and decides to rush home. When Mr. Kidnapper arrives home, he immediately calls and orders Natasha to sleep again with him. He gets a cable tie again, binding his right hand to Natasha's left hand. This way, he can flex his manly manifestations and worldly desires toward Natasha. The vulnerable girl gets undressed with her mountains revealed. As they lay in bed, Mr. Kidnapper wants to climb her mountains. Natasha attempts to refuse, but his strength dominates for the erotic plan to commence. He then takes his hormone bag and embarks on an exhausting journey to climb the grassy mountains. 2 minutes later, they finish, and Natasha expresses her desire to go to the garden, and to her surprise, Mr. Kidnapper agrees. As they both travel the garden filled with deafening silence, Natasha utters words that insult him. Then, she gets dragged back to her tiny secret room. She also chooses to deal with it positively, by dancing and distracting herself from the seeming misery. The day after being an erotic enslaved person, Natasha becomes a servant who needs to do hard labor for Mr. Kidnapper. She prepares food with her body half naked. She even gets punished for a tiny mistake and gets deprived of any amount of food. However, she still imagines the day where freedom revisits her world. When she sees the food on the table, she breaks the rule by grabbing and eating it. But he is too strong, stopping and bringing her back to the secret room. The menacing sorrow resumes when Mr. Kidnapper commands her to go down and change the filter in their water pipes. Natasha has no choice but to obey. As she goes deeper into the tiny tube, the cruel Mr. Kidnapper closes the hole mercilessly. Natasha screams amid the darkness and gets released after a few moments. This time, Natasha's patience runs out, and she begins throwing punches at his face. The following day, Mr. Kidnapper gets comfortable with Natasha, though there are still seasons of unpredictable brutality. He listens and grants Natasha's desire for her hair. He even gives Natasha a new pair of jeans and a shirt before they go to the mall. As they travel to a store, Mr. Kidnapper emphasizes that he's ready to kill anyone if Natasha chooses to escape. Meanwhile, Natasha is astonished to see the world again. She almost confronts a stranger, but the voice of Mr. Kidnapper exists in her mind. When they return home, Natasha feels disappointed about losing a significant opportunity. But she never loses hope as she endeavors to behave according to Mr. Kidnapper's liking. She acts cheerful as they fix the room and pretends to be joyous for every present. One bright day, Mr. Kidnapper's mother pays a visit again, which means Natasha is in the secret room again. There, Natasha hears the news about her missing, which brings back her motivation to survive. When the room is ready, Mr. Kidnapper orders Natasha to sleep with him. With a cable tie bundled, Natasha will face another despair again. She asks him why he chose her as the victim. Mr. Kidnapper reveals that abducting her is explicitly the plan. He states that he fell in love with the smile, which leads him to build the secret room for several months. He continuously checks Natasha until the moment of abduction. Afterward, Mr. Kidnapper moves again, starting to plow her grassy farmland. With all these unfavorable circumstances, Natasha gets tired and tries to end her life. She grabs a tissue and puts it on a stove to create a cloud of smoke. But in the middle, she chooses to stop it and redeem her life instead. Natasha endures several punches and strokes again when Mr. Kidnapper figures out her suicide attempt because of the smell. After the punishment, Natasha writes all her experiences, signifying a glimpse of the possibility. The day of the skiing trip comes, and Mr. Kidnapper includes Natasha in the said activity. She is having a hard time and is guarded by the kidnapper. When Natasha needs to go to the toilet, he checks the room first to ensure that nobody is in there. The horrible memories from the past eventually resume in the present. When Natasha asks the stranger for help in the toilet, her chance of survival fades as Natasha cannot speak English. Mr. Kidnapper outrages as he believes Natasha communicates with the stranger in the toilet. The brutality emerges when he beats Natasha again, providing her bruises. Natasha's 18th birthday approaches, so Mr. Kidnapper awards her with a cake and a new dress. He instructs Natasha to wear the gift so he can dance with her. While trimming the leaves in the garden, a neighbor notices both of them, but Natasha is forbidden by him from speaking. As a result, Natasha blames herself for doing nothing about the earlier chance. One sunny afternoon, Natasha prepares food for both of them. Seconds later, he shares the plan of selling the van, which means that Natasha needs to clean it as soon as possible. While Natasha vacuums every corner of the car, she glances at an unlocked gate, which triggers her faith in redemption. When Mr. Kidnapper hugs and guards Natasha, a phone call rings, which distracts his attention. While he's speaking on the phone with the buyer, Natasha brings back her highest hopes and is eager to return to her world. She briskly runs away from hell and untiringly seeks help. The restoration of her life begins upon seeing an older woman who eventually contacts the police officers. She then utters her full name when the police officers arrive. The movie ends with Mr. Kidnapper, who loses his drive to leave and ends his own life by facing an approaching train. On the 3096th day, Natasha finally achieves her world and life again after the frightening years in captivity. She meets her parents at the station, ready to build a new beginning. Indeed, the movie depicts desperate ways of defining and shaping life, a true story film of survival after a horrendous trauma of 3096 days. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Stay safe and enjoy your day.